Ladies and gentlemen, when I say that Biden is 100% to blame for fallen Americans, 13 fallen Americans, over 90 now Afghans who've lost their lives. When I say he's 100% to blame, there are two articles below in the in the description section, or one Washington Times article where it says the title is Taliban warns, the name of the group, warns Biden U.S. troops will be held liable after May 1st. Okay. They literally told Biden's administration that if we don't abide by President Trump's negotiated deal, they will then retaliate. He knew this. He knew this. Quote, if the agreement, and this is from the adversaries in that country, the Taliban, we'll just call them that for the algorithm. Quote, if the agreement is breached and foreign forces fail to exit our country on the specified date of May 1st, problems will certainly be compounded, and those who fail to comply with the agreement will be held liable. The Doha Agreement, which is the agreement by President Trump, the adversaries in that country, to get out May 1st. Biden had January 22nd, 21st, the day after he was inaugurated, February, March, April. Okay? This article was written on April 14th, 2021. He knew in April, well, he knew even before April, that if he went past May 1st, that would be a declaration of continued hostilities. They were basically warning throughout the year, hey, if you go past May 1st, it's going to be a big problem. Biden knew this. To spite Trump, there was no other reason. There was no other reason than to simply, in a petulant manner, that essentially sacrificed lives. He was willing to sacrifice, to give up American lives and the lives of Afghans just to spite Trump. You're talking about a serious issue, a serious mental issue a great many Democrats have. They have to do the opposite of anything Trump says or does. Trump has broken the spirits and the mind and just the ability to think critically of a great many Democrats. Hit subscribe to this channel right this second. We're right next to 184,000. We'll be up to 200,000 subscribers soon. Nobody is talking about this, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the most important issues, and it's getting worse every single day. Our soldiers, Afghans who deserve to come here and become citizens tomorrow, I want them to become citizens tomorrow. You risk your lives to help and protect Americans, or you risk your lives to help this country. I want you to become a citizen tomorrow. Tens of thousands. I want citizens immediately. Okay? But President Biden essentially sacrificed people's lives because he wanted to spite Trump. This is what he wrote. Okay? And God bless the families. It's like unbelievable. There's no words to explain those 13 families, and it could be, God forbid, more. They have escalated this because of Biden's incompetence and inept and spiteful reaction to Trump's negotiated deal. May 1st was the timeline. May 1st. May 1st. We knew, they already stated, if you go past May 1st, it's basically going to be another war. He knew this. Biden knew this. He even actually, and this is the second link in the description, when I came, because this is his remarks on April 14th, around the same time he was warned by the Taliban. Okay? This is around the same time. Okay, when I came to office, I inherited a diplomatic agreement duly negotiated between the government of the United States and the Taliban that all U.S. forces would be out of Afghanistan by May 1st, 2021. Just 3 months after my inauguration. That's what we inherited, that commitment. then why didn't you abide by that commitment if you knew, if you were warned in April that going past May would essentially tear up any honor or any incentive by the adversaries in that country to just play by the rules or to play ball? Why would you do that, Biden or Biden's handlers? But here, quote, it is, quote, this is, and he continues, quote, it is perhaps not what I would have negotiated myself, but it was an agreement made by the United States government, and that means something. Okay, the agreement was to get out by May 1st. So in keeping with that agreement and with our national interest, the United States will begin our final withdrawal, begin it on May 1st of this year. What? This man has never had a foreign policy achievement ever, from WMD to being part of an administration, President Obama's administration, that helped destroy Libya, turning it into a failed state where human beings are being bought and sold. Then you have this catastrophe, one of the worst things, one of the worst moments in U.S. history within a week. Within a week, our stature around the world and within our country. We don't trust, the average American does not trust Joe Biden. And that's different from, there was 92% to 100% negative media coverage of Trump. They wanted to spite Trump. They wanted to just, the media and Democratic Party version of national security was whether Trump pressured Zelensky, which President Zelensky himself stated never happened, and they never ever indicted Trump or charged him in a court of law for any of the absurd allegations. Facebook ads, him being a Russian operative, the Steele dossier. These things are all nonsense compared to what's going on. This is true national security issues. These are true national security issues. And instead of complying, he said, yeah, well, this is a commitment. We were supposed to be out by May 1st. And then the deceptive semantic games that a great many morally superior liberal Democrats make. So in keeping with that agreement and with our national interest, the United States will begin our final withdrawal, begin it on May 1st of this year. What? You literally addressed the agreement that said you need to leave by May 1st. Then you say you'll start leaving May 1st? Are you a complete and utter imbecile, mashed potato brains? You know what would have happened. You knew this. You knew that American lives would be lost. You knew that Afghans, the lives of Afghans would be lost. You knew that. And what did you do? You just said, well, we had a negotiated deal where we were supposed to leave May 1st, and even the T-Band said if you don't leave May 1st, then it's pretty much a war declaration. But so we'll start on May 1st. Because you see, the operative word or words were May 1st. Not the fact we had to leave on that day. The fact, well, you heard it from me. I addressed or acknowledged that we had some kind of deal to leave on May 1st, so we'll start leaving May 1st just to spite Trump. Just so we can say we're doing it on our terms, not Trump's terms, not the Orange Menace and Pompeo and his administration. There was no reason to leave past, there was zero reason to ignore the May 1st timeline. He had January 22nd, February, March, April, hit all that time. And you knew you would be provoking you already, look, it's not about, if you want to set the terms, your own terms, you do that, which is what Trump did. This is why it was a moral imperative to vote for Trump. This is why if you use the liberal democratic mindset or value system, if you voted for Biden, every life is on your hands. You did this. Does that make any sense? Kind of ring a bell? Wonderful, morally superior voters who blamed Trump supporters for everything. Well, now this carnage, this loss of life is on your hands, Biden voters. Because to spite Trump, which is how you live your life, you ignored the reality that was already foreshadowed by our adversaries and by the United States government. We already knew that what could hit the fan after May 1st. So we will not conduct a hasty rush to exit. We'll do it, and we'll do it responsibly, deliberately, and safely. The opposite was true. How many fact-checking organizations looked at Biden's speech? You never... Suddenly the Washington Post stops fact-checking. How convenient. And then they say it's... there was one article, it's hilarious, in New York Magazine. I was like, oh yeah, the media is tougher on Biden. No, the media is an extension of the Democratic Party. It has been for the past 4 years. That's why you have the New York Post suspended, simply because, one of the biggest stories in the history of elections, Hunter Biden's emails with pay-to-play statements like, how can you use your influence on behalf of the company? Like, literally there. If Donald Trump Jr. had that in relation to his father, oh my God, it would be like front page news everywhere. But literally, you had Twitter suspend the New York Post's account. But by the way, the T-Ban and others can have a presence on Twitter. Isn't that interesting? But Trump can't. So, it's right here. It's right here. The Washington Times article in April. April's the month where Biden, in March, he hadn't even decided to leave yet, just to simply just to simply be petulant and malicious and spite Trump. This is an important segment, and I'll just repeat the same things over again. April is the month where we knew that chaos would ensue. We knew that mayhem and chaos and bloodshed and all of this would happen. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. We already knew this would happen. We knew in April. And he sacrificed American lives and Afghan lives simply to claim a political victory that's now one of the worst political moments in U.S. This is what happened in U.S. history. This is what happens when hubris and arrogance guides your decision-making. This is what happens when you devote your life to doing the opposite of a very good president. President Trump, the worst thing he did was tweet. This is the worst thing he did. Yes, there were policies that were really bad. Family separation was bad. I agree with that. I was against that. You want to know what was worse? President Obama's Senate report, which in New York Magazine they covered also, where worse took place, where we don't know where the fate of those people. And so you have worse policies taking place under Democrats, but you don't have the same hysteria and apoplectic reaction. Because if it's Tara Reid and Biden, well, don't believe. If it's Kavanaugh or Trump, you better believe. A great many liberal Democrats, not all, I'm sure there's a liberal Democrat in your life, tell him or her you love them. Tell them you love them. Life is too short. Politics should be viewed only as, I used to say entertainment, but this is life. This is, these are serious issues. But you shouldn't, you should focus on happiness in your life, not division. And love, not anger. And you could still understand that Biden is at fault and still care for someone who voted for Biden, unlike the arrogant narcissists who don't show the same type of, logic. This was the fault of the Biden administration. They knew in April, if they went past May 1st, because when you negotiate with an organization like the T-Ban, when you negotiate with them, you are setting terms during that negotiation. You don't set terms by breaking the negotiation. And there was sometimes you might have to break, but there was no reason to. And that's what, when I say Biden sacrificed people's lives, he did so. And he did so for a political gain. He should have been impeached. He should be impeached. This is impossible because the House is run by Democrats. Of course, they would impeach Trump 3 times already, had this happened under Trump. But, God bless the families who are suffering now in our country and around the world now, in Afghanistan. And I fear it'll get worse because there are already reports now the same types of things are going to take place or are expected to take place based on news reports. Give me your thoughts below. It's all Biden's fault. And if anyone says otherwise, show them this segment and the 2 links in the description. His own words in April, acknowledging that he won't, acknowledging that there was a May 1st timeline and that he'll begin withdrawal at May 1st, which he didn't, and which was absurd. He should have, on May 1st, already have withdrawn. He had all that time, and there was the warning or threat or, promise, whatever, from the T-Ban saying, if you don't leave, it's basically like this declaration of hostilities. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Why didn't Biden simply abide by the May 1st timeline, which was negotiated? The Doha Agreement was negotiated by the United States government, something he acknowledged, and yet just simply disregarded because he's mashed potato brains. Give me your thoughts. Thank you. Hit subscribe right now. To my super thanks, thank you so very much. That's below next to the like and the share buttons. If you want to support my work long term, my Patreon is